Hey everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today is a day that I am super excited about. Not because it's the end of November and December is finally here, but because today I'm going to be playing with Jingles for the first time in 3 years, and I can't contain my excitement at giving away 10 to 15 to 20,000 togs to the community and then playing with you all right now on Twitch. But in the meantime, I'm going to do something I really hate, which is playing the M3 Lee in the meantime, because you know, you've got to have a little bit of what you hate with what you truly love to do inside life, right? So let's talk about the M3 Lee, why this is a tank that I absolutely hate playing inside the game, because I never really choose to play this tank. I'll be honest, the only times that I get to play the M3 Lee, or the only times that I play the M3 Lee, are when I'm forced to by all of you, the community. During the streams I usually have an option, a poll website appears. Well, it doesn't appear, we run it, and you can all go vote on the tanks that you want me to play. And for some reason, you all just keep picking the M3 Lee. I don't know what it is about this tank, but apparently because the standard rounds bounce off a duck twice, and even a premium round bounces off the duck there. People just love playing the Lee. I guess it's because I hate it so much and you all want to see me suffer, because I guess you're all sadists or something, and I'm really not a masochist enough to be able to play the M3 Lee consistently. Let me put that out there. So the M3 Lee, it's a tier 4 American medium tank, and I think my hate of this vehicle has really stemmed from when I played it for the first time back in the day. This was one of the first tier 4, well, it was actually probably the first tier 4 American tank that I played. I wanted to lead on towards the glorious M4 Sherman with the derp gun and with 12 degrees of gun depression and with things like a turret as well. And then you get stuck with the Lee. I averaged, I think it was about 25% win ratio in this tank in my first 40 games. I was putting in, on average, about 1 shot every game, I think. I played it like a bot. I hated it so much that I would just drive into combat, hope that my team carried me and would get me a victory. And it seems like when you play like that inside World of Tanks, yeah, you actually win far less often than you lose. And so, recently, well, not recently, but since then, since I started streaming and making YouTube videos, and you all have managed to convince me to play the M3 Lee again, or not convince me, you all forced me to play the M3 Lee again occasionally, then you know that win ratio has slowly been edging up and up and up, and I think that it's just shy of 50%. I guess you're going to see why in games like these. Well, let's actually not talk about you're going to see why. Let me talk about actually why that is the case. Well, when I think about it, back in the day, I probably didn't even know how view range mechanics worked inside World of Tanks. I didn't have a 100% crew on this tank. I'd be surprised if I didn't use a 50% crew because they were free at tier 4 and I didn't have enough credits as I was a free-to-play player to be able to afford things, frivolous things like crew. Now, one thing that's really interesting about this game is that I keep getting blind fired frequently, and it feels as if the blind fires are actually heat rounds or they're high explosive rounds. So I was thinking, would it be an SU-26? Nah, probably the shell would have been a little bit larger than that. So I'm trying to put my finger on what tank on the enemy team is blind firing me, and there you go again. That's just such a bizarre blind fire considering that I wasn't spotted. Anyway, back to the M3 Lee and back in the day and why I struggled in this tank. Probably because I played the vehicle stock, I had a horrific crew in the vehicle, and it was just a sheer frustration. It was honestly tilt. I was just probably so furious playing this tank and disliked it so much and felt like I had to still grind up the line to be able to get to where I wanted to go that I just didn't care about the tank. So we managed to shut down the looks there. Now we're going to put 1 round into the back of the duck tank, and whoa, we pick up our 4th kill. Nice little cheeky location there for the Lee. And you do have to find this tank cheeky locations to get it to work. And that's because its gun is right here. They can shoot all of this area of your tank, your whole turret, the whole of the upper hull. This has got one of the biggest foreheads, as I like to call it, of a tank in history, where we consider that this is where you shoot out of, and all the area above it will be visible by the enemies as you come over a ridgeline. So that means that combined with mediocre mobility, definitely not the best view range for a tier 4 tank, and the complete lack of turret, oh, this tank is a bit of a stinker with regards to everything, apart from the gun. The gun, to be honest, at tier 4 is actually pretty gnarly. Its aim time isn't horrific, its accuracy isn't the worst at a 0.41 with 2.1 seconds aim time to be exact. And combine this with a very decent rate of fire of 20 rounds a minute, and it has 110 alpha damage, and this thing has actually got 2,200 damage per minute. This is what's really crazy about low-tier World of Tanks, is that vehicles like this, 2,200 damage per minute base. When you add on to things like that, premium consumables, crew skills, which I don't really have for this vehicle, apart from 6 cents, I believe, with a 6 cents reserve. And the DPM of this vehicle must start to get up towards around at least the 2,400, if not the 2,500 mark. And when everybody's got 300 hit points, we're talking about killing vehicles, I guess, in about 5 to 10 seconds. And that's not long enough for quite a lot of players to react down the early side of it. So, the STVZ comes around the corner and gives me my 6th kill of the game. Very nice of him. I'm thinking there's no way this T-28 is going to come around the corner as well. But it actually does. And you see that I stopped there and thinking, I probably go like, what is this game? It's the M3 Lee, baby. Now up to 7 kills. And look at the priest on my team. Bless him. Big Bear says, nice! In capitals. I can just imagine him standing up, hopefully, and shouting that I managed to save the priest here and has given Big Bear an opportunity to get back into this game. But even with 7 kills, there's still 4 tanks left on the enemy team. Are we going to have to kill 2/3 of the enemy team here to be able to win a game in the league? And when I think about games like this, I just think about just how mind-boggling it would be for me to go back and to take a look at how I used to play when I was playing my first few hundred games of World of Tanks. And when I was sitting there averaging 1 shot a game in the M3 League because I had no idea of the game mechanics. I didn't have all of the advantages that I now have to be able to deal with my opponents. And just how crazy it would be. I wish I could go back and tell QuickyBaby from, goodness gracious, 8.5 years ago now. One day, mate, you are going to get 10 kills in the league, and he'll probably say, what, over like 50 games or something, or even more? Nah, in a single game. Well, if that's going to be the case, we'll have to wait and see, because we're going to have to deal with a lot of the enemy vehicles here, and we're now in a 2 versus 4 situation with the M7 Priest on our team. Man, even though this game seems to be going pretty good, it's quite funny because literally this came up as a random selection in the tank poll, and then 2 days after, you all voted for it again, and I did 0 damage. So if you think that this is a regular occurrence for me in the M3 League, it's really not. This is the M3 League dream. I'm dreaming right now as to how this game is going. Catch the Stug out in the open, aim 1 into the side, aim 2 into the side before they can react. And I guess really that's the only good thing about the league. You just got to keep driving around. You just got to try and surprise your opponents. You've got to try and think where they are. You've got to try and catch them ill-prepared. And if you can do that, then you're going to be taking it down. So blind fire there from the enemy team. Now we catch the SU-26 out in the open. Will we kill them with a single shot? 50-50. There you go. Wham bam. 9th kill of the game. Now 1 more to secure 10. That doesn't happen often in World of Tanks, although it will happen more often at low tiers, right, where the competition is less steep and just the amount of damage per minute to the hit points completely wayward, right? Okay, so I was absolutely bricking it at this moment because I know that the Valentine AT now is the one that was blind firing me. He's either firing high explosive rounds or he's firing heat rounds from the little derp gun that tier 3 British tank destroyer can use. So I was very concerned indeed that he was watching the stream. But oh well, can't really think too much about that now. The cruiser too! I don't even know where that shell went. That looked like it went underneath the tank, boys and girls. In fact, let's rewind that. Let's actually take a look to see what happens with that cruiser shell. Because I believe it went right underneath the tank. But let's take a look at it in slow motion, in instant replay. Okay, here we go. Where does the shell go? Okay, let's do ultra slow motion. Come on. I shoot him once. Oh, this game looks glorious when you slow it down like this. Where does the shell go from the enemy tank, though? Does it go right underneath? Does it really go right underneath? Come on, buddy. Oh, here we go. That's one of the slowest tanks. Yeah, sorry, one of the slowest shells in World of Tanks history. Okay, here we go. Oh, my lord. Okay, it actually did. I didn't think about this. Okay, one little bit higher. It actually launches and it hugs the ridge and it goes onwards to the moon, my shell, onwards. No, it's actually going to dip, but oh dear, how absolutely preposterous was that moment. You see, I look behind me and I think, sorry, did that just happen? I looked behind to see if there was a crater, and considering there was no crater, and the shell definitely didn't whiz over my head. Yeah, it did go underneath my tank. Nice, says Big Bear in his M7 priest in chat again. It feels like I've got a little bard right now. You know, somebody who's like playing my song and singing my tales. It's just Big Bear and he says nice afterwards. It doesn't make an interesting tale. Hopefully, you should work on that, Big Bear. All jokes aside though, it was quite fun. Just these low tier games and this kind of interaction with the chat and this interaction with just random players. Yeah, just World of Tanks, right? Sure, when you're getting focused and when you're getting stream sniped and when you're getting berated by what used to be the enemy team and now is mostly your team, because we're not allowed to communicate with the enemies. It's always good to remind yourself of just sometimes those little interactions that can still make these multiplayer games just hilarious all at the same time. Alright, so M3 Lee and Big Bear in his priest against the Valentine AT on the enemy team. Now, it looks like Big Bear thinks that I don't know where the Valentine was last spotted, but the last thing that I would want is to actually just drive straight over towards him, because I put the Valentine up in this location. If I was a Valentine, I would be sitting up here, or alternatively, if I wasn't sitting up there, then I'd probably be up in this location as well. But to be fair, if he was up in this location, he probably would have been able to spot my priest friend who's located down here, although maybe not because in the bushes. And so what I decided to do was to really hug the edge and to give myself the optimal opportunity, or to give the greatest distance between me and the Valentine's vision, which will allow me to slip into the base. Because I'm pretty sure that this guy is watching the stream, or maybe I'm just paranoid. We'll have to see in the post-game stats to see how many blind shots that person fired. Because more often than not, people who have absolutely horrific accuracy in the post-game stats are people who have been watching the stream and trying to blind fire me, but sometimes it's just an absolute disaster for them, because the stream, while it has no delay from my side, it takes about 5 seconds for the signal to go from my computer to Twitch and then to all the people who are watching at home. And so people don't account for that 5 seconds unless I'm literally just sitting completely still. Alright, so I'm trying to figure out how am I going to deal with this Valentine AT. Am I going to try and make my way over? Am I going to try and flank him? Am I going to try and spot him out? But it looks like Big Bear is telling me, cap. Okay, Big Bear, well, you know what? I'm going to listen to you, my friend. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have thought about doing that. And now I'm in an interesting situation. Where do you sit in a cap circle when a Valentine AT might be engaging you? And obviously, whoa, already one blind fire at some of the buildings here. That was a bit of a bizarre one, but my sixth sense didn't go off. I definitely didn't get spotted until now, and I realize, oh my lord, disaster. And I was completely right. I ping the map, I tell Big Bear on my team where the Valentine AT is, and he clearly was up in this location. And now the Valentine AT is trying to get rid of me by blowing down some of the buildings. But also, he's also wasting time right now. The Valentine is just not progressing. The only way the Valentine is going to be able to win this game now, there's so many buildings for me to hide behind, is to actually get up in my face and be able to try and shotgun me. And that's really what I was mostly concerned about. But nearly a massive misplay by me there to expose myself to the enemy team. But luckily it ended up going alright, and I narrowly escaped what could have been an absolute heartbreak from the Valentine on the enemy team. So right now I was thinking, which way is the Valentine going to go? Is he going to slip down this slope and come here? Is he going to try and slip down this slope and come over here? Well, if he makes his way over here, then he's not going to proxy spot me. But from this location, I was thinking that I'll be able to spot him just as he comes up on the ridge. And I'm going backwards and forwards, maybe just because I got a nervous twitch, and because we've got 15 seconds whether we're going to decide whether we win this game and pick up 10 kills in the M3 Lee, or the Valentine AT is going to shut me down and then be able to take this one down. 8 seconds, 7 seconds. Now I back right up to the edge of the cap circle. It's the center mass of the tank that has to be within it. And with 3, 2, 1... GG, says Big Bear, and you know what? I'm inclined to agree, Big Bear. It's not every day you do 10 kills or you pick up 10 kills in possibly, if not, my most hated tank to play in World of Tanks. Sometimes there are vehicles which, when I was useless in, back in the day, I've played recently, and I figured out, oh, it was just my fault back in the day. This one, yeah, well, definitely, I can play it better than I used to. Oh, it's just not right for me to play. I really can't enjoy this one. So please, boys and girls, have mercy. And don't make me play this by voting for it in the polls. Thank you very much. So this was an ace tanker, high caliber, an invader medal, and a top gun. No pools medal, because of course pools medals are only given for killing vehicles that are tier 4 and higher, and we made a decent profit with or without a premium account. Even with a game like this, do I really still like the M3 Leap? No, really despise it. I hate unflexible vehicles, and even if they're meme-worthy like this one, I don't know. This is still probably my most hated tank in World of Tanks. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and if you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And now's the time. Come join on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. I haven't played with Jingles in 3 years. This is your only opportunity to be able to play with us or against us in TOGs, because we're going to be giving out 10, 15, 20,000, whatever, TOG one-day rental codes. All you have to do is tune in. You're pretty much guaranteed to get one unless there's more than 10,000 people watching the stream. And then we're going to be signing up in TOGs every 15 minutes for a whole hour so we can play with at least some of you inside the World of Tanks community and hopefully nail that perfect 30 versus 30. Ooh, 15 versus 15, 30 TOG game. So, really looking forward to seeing you all right now. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.